Hello, welcome to another video. So today we are launching my 2024 self-destruct list. So I have got 12 books in front of me, which if I have not read by the end of 2024, they will be self-destructing, i.e. they'll be unhauled. So the way that I've chosen these books to put them on my TBR, these all were hauled in 2022 or prior. So they were been on my TBR for like longer than 12 months. And they all went on a monthly TBR in 2023 and I did not read them. So my thinking behind this is basically I've owned them for over 12 months. I had the opportunity to read them and I didn't. So they get one last shot at being read and then they go. So here, is my stack. As you can see, it doesn't actually fit in the basket, but let's go through the 12 books that are on my self-destruct list. So first of all, and this one is on my January TBR, let's see whether or not I get to it, Lady Midnight by Cassandra Clare. So this is book one in the Dark Artificers series. And this is the last of like the core trilogies that I need to read. So I've read The Mortal Instruments, I've read the Clockwork Angel series, Infernal Devices, and I've read the Chain of Gold series, which I've no idea what it's called. So this is the last of like the series for me to read in the Shadowhunter universe. Then I've just got all of like the standalones and bits and bobs. And even though I have a bit of like a love-hate relationship with Cassandra Clare, I love most of her books, but at the same time I kind of hate them. Like The Mortal Instruments got progressively worse. I think it started at like a 3-star and went down to like a very generous 2-star, probably nearer like a 1.5. Although I did love book 6, City of Heavenly Fire, loved it. And this series takes place straight after the events of Heavenly Fire, so I am excited, but these books are chunky. This one is just shy of 700 pages, 670 pages. They're chunky books, and I know that they're super quick to read, but yeah, I really want to read this one, but I am always kind of putting it off. But yeah, like I said, this one is currently on January's TBR. The next one on my self-destruct pile is Illumina by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff. So Illumina, if you didn't know, is a sci-fi. It is told in mixed media. So we've got things like, I don't know actually quite what that is, but that's like a kind of transcript. There's this page that I barely even know how to read that. It's looks like a really interesting book to read. I mean, look at that, like what? I'm really excited to start this series. I adore the Aurora cycle by these two authors, so I feel like I should really enjoy this one. I've been told that this one came before Aurora cycle, but I've been told like that the characters in the Aurora cycle are exactly the same as the characters in the Illumina trilogy, but I'm not mad about that because I love them. So I really want to read this one. It has been on so many TBRs in 2023, and now I need to get to it. This one has literally been sat on, well, I've had this one digitally for about 4 years now. I think I hauled it in like 2019 on my Kindle, and I've owned it physically for well over a year. So yeah, I really need to read it. When did this come out? 2015. Yeah, that sounds about right. I really need to read it. The next one, which I really don't want to unhaul this. and I can't really even tell you why. It's Baby Love by Jacqueline Wilson. I've heard nobody except me talk about this book, so I don't know if it's a good book or not. But I do know that I love Jacqueline Wilson. Particularly love her Girls series, and I think this one is kind of similar in that it's like more of a kind of YA age range rather than like a middle grade like some of her other books are. So I really want to read it. This one has probably been on like 4 or 5 TBRs in 2023. So I really just need to pick it up. I don't know why I'm putting it off. I don't know why I'm not reading this book, because I really want to, and it looks really, really good. This one follows a 16-year-old who gets pregnant, and basically her family send her away to have the baby. I believe it is set in the 60s. It sounds so good. I can just see this one is going to make me like sob, and I really want to read it. Hopefully. But I'm going to start at this end. So next we've got The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. Yes, I know, I still have not read The Song of Achilles. But I really want to. So I am a little bit nervous about this one because I read Circe in 2020 and I didn't really like it. Now, I don't know if it was a case of wrong book, wrong time. I did read it in April 2020. I remember I read it for the Magical Readathon, and obviously April 2020, we're peak COVID at this point. My mental health was shot to pieces. So it could have just been that it wasn't the right book for me at the right time. But it has made me nervous about going into Song of Achilles because it is so highly hyped. And what if I don't like it? So I'm excited and nervous, but I do really want to get to this one. Next, I've got the only one on this list. Yeah, I think the only one on this list that I've actually started already is The Obelisk Gate by N.K. Jemisin. So my bookmark is here. I am 108 pages into it. So I read the 5th season in like, again, probably in like 2020. Really enjoyed it. And picked up The Obelisk Gate last year. I picked this one up for a Magical Readathon prompt. Again, we're going to just blame G for this whole TBR basically. I picked this one up for a Magical Readathon prompt, which was Earth in the title. The series is The Broken Earth. But as I didn't pick it up throughout the month, I got towards the end of the month and I was like, there's no way I'm going to finish this before the month ends. I think it was in the August round. So I put this one down and I swapped it for like a graphic novel that I found that had Earth in the title. And I do fully intend to pick this one back up because I am enjoying it. I just wasn't able to finish it at the time. So, which is a really pathetic excuse, like just fully admitting that is an awful excuse for not reading a book. But I do want to pick this one back up. It is probably one of the priorities for me just because I am partway through it and I do really want to read it. Next, we have got The Idea of You by Robin Lee. I bought this book, I think it was another 2020 purchase. Again, like my mental health was not good in 2020 and I self-medicated by buying books. This one was a recommendation from Kaylee at Bookworm Escapes. And I really want to read it. It's been blurbed by Taylor Jenkins Reid, who's one of my favourite authors. It kind of gives me the vibes of kind of like a Daisy Jones. I just really want to get to this one. And every single time I look at it, I'm like, oh no, I need to read that one in summer. And then it gets to summer and I'm like, no, it's not yet the right time. So I need to make 2024 the right time to read The Idea of You. Next up, I have got Crowfall by Vashti Hardy. I'm very sad that this book is on this list. I adore Vashti Hardy. She is one of my favourite authors. She is definitely one of my favourite middle grade authors. And Crowfall is one of the last books of hers that I need to read. In terms of like her middle grade books, I haven't read a lot of her younger books for younger audiences because they don't really interest me as much. Let me see if there's a list of books in here. There are some fantastic maps. Yeah, I think I've read, like, all I've got in the blurb here is she's the author of Bright Storm. Yep, read that trilogy, adored it, 5 stars for all of them. Wild Spark, one of my favourite books of all time. I have actually read Harley Hitch, which is for her younger readers, so maybe I have read literally everything that Vashti Hardy has written. But also, can we just, it's a paperback, and look at these, I was going to say end papers, but paperbacks don't really have end papers, but this book is stunning. So I am really excited to read this book. It makes me very sad that I haven't got to it yet because it looks fantastic. It's kind of a, I guess it's like a steampunk middle grade, but again, excited, wanted to read it. Next on the list, we have got Artemis Fowl and the Arctic Incident. This is book 2 in the Artemis Fowl series. I'm fairly certain I've read this book before. Basically, with all of the Artemis Fowl books, I don't remember which ones I've read and which ones I haven't read. So I've decided last year that I would reread the whole series, but then I didn't. I put this one on a TBR and I just didn't read it. So I need to basically get back to the Artemis Fowl world. Hopefully I will get the opportunity to do that this year, because otherwise, if I unhaul this book, do I have to unhaul the rest of the series? Do I just not unhaul this book because there is the rest of the series? I don't know. I do enjoy the Artemis Fowl books, but like I said, I just want to read them in order. It potentially will be like a binge read series or something at some point. The next one I've got on here is The Box in the Woods by Maureen Johnson. I really enjoyed the Truly Devious series by Maureen Johnson. And this one is like a spin-off from that series. I believe it follows the same characters, but it is no longer set in Ellingham. I'm trying to find the name of the school there. It's not set in the Ellingham Academy. It is set at summer camp. So I am excited to read this one. I know it's going to be fun. I know I'm going to have a great time, but I just need to get to it. Next, I've got The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. I have read this one before because it's absolutely tiny, and I remember reading this one when I was in Bali, from reading it on a boat when I was hopping from one island to the next. So I know I can read it within like an hour and a half. I really want to reread it, and I'm just kind of disappointed in myself that I didn't read it last year when I wanted to. The last two, I slightly lied earlier. These two here have not been on TBRs in 2023, but they are both ones that I don't think I will put on TBRs, realistically. And every time I do an unhaul, I look at these and I pull them out, and then I go, no, I'll try again. So they are going on my self-destruct list, basically to see, do I need to keep these? First one is Legendborn by Tracy Deonn. So I have heard so many mixed things about this. This is the issue. My friend Juliana is obsessed with this series, but then I know other people who have said that it's just not the one, that it's like a bit confusing, it's trying to do too much, and it's not great. So I am nervous about this series, but again, it's been on my TBR for a couple of years now, and I want to read it. I want to try it for myself, because if I do enjoy it, I know the next book is out already. If I don't enjoy it, then that's fine, absolutely fine. Somebody else will. And then the final book, book number 12, is The Gren Deception by Kirsten White. So this one, I bought this one at Yalk in 2022. Yeah, 2022. I bought this whole trilogy plus 2 extra books for £8. So it really doesn't owe me anything. But because I own the whole trilogy, I feel like I can't unhaul them without at least trying them. And this one, again, I've heard very, very mixed things. I've heard a lot of people say it is just not great. It's not that big. How big is it? It's a really lovely floppy book as well. It's just over 300 pages. Oh, I'm going to be joined by Bella. Hello, Dabby. It's very floppy. But, hi, Belle. We don't need to see up your nose, actually. So I've heard so many mixed things about the Gren Deception that I don't know if it's for me or not. And like I said, I don't want to unhaul it because I own the full trilogy. So I don't want to unhaul it before I've at least tried. But I do feel like these two are the ones that are at risk from unhaul, not because I've kind of like been tempted to read them and haven't, but because I really don't think I will ever pick them up on my own accord. So that is my 2024 self-destruction list. Let me know, have you read any of the books on this list? Are there any that I need to prioritise? Are there any that maybe, I could let go? Let me know your views and your opinions, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.